Hello ladies, I just wanted to give you just a little quick rundown on this information sheet that I gave you, the strengths and weaknesses of the planets. If you're anything like me, when I very first saw this chart, table, whatever it may be, in Horary, I went, oh no, I don't know if I can do this, that's just too much. But I just wanted to show you what I use with it and what I don't use with it, and also actually how easy it is to use the whole thing. So what it is, it's a point system, as you can see. So you would get your chart up, say put your chart there, and next to it, and then you would check all these things off, and then have a little notebook, or on the chart have a list of the negative debilities and the positive dignities. So if the significator of a planet, say for example, let's utilise the holiday example. Someone wants to go on a long distance holiday, and the lord of that house is Saturn, and that's because that house is in Aquarius. Now, if Saturn is in Capricorn, that means it's in its own sign. So that's a tick for that one. The fact that it's come from the 9th house, which was the quesited part of the question that I'm sort of making up now as I go, and that was Aquarius, that is also a dignified Saturn. So essentially you've got two areas here, that you've got like a mutual reception by house and by planet, but also a planet in its own sign. So you would give it +5 for points. So that would be like, okay, yes, you will be going on this holiday if the question is, am I going to go on a long distance holiday? There's your 5 points. If Saturn was in Cancer, then you would give it -5 points, because it's not in detriment. It's not saying yes. In criminal astrology, I'll throw this in as well. If a planet is in its own sign, now if it is the planet that represents the victim, one would think that it actually would give the victim more strength in order to fight off the person or the situation that's going on, but I haven't actually seen that occur. When I see a planet in its own sign, it doesn't really change a lot in terms of the criminal astrology with the victim. With the perpetrator, on the other hand, if we have Saturn ruling the 7th house, or Capricorn or Aquarius on the 7th house cusp, and then Saturn is in Capricorn in that 7th house, for example, that does show me that the person that did something is very Capricornian and does have that dignity about him. So for some reason with the criminal astrology, it tends to work a little differently, where it's not really showing us the strength of the victim. Not that I've seen yet, but it can show us that the perpetrator is very, very purposeful in doing what he wants to do, which makes sense, because the victim's just going about their daily life and the perpetrator is encroaching on the victim's life. So that 7th house would have more impact on the 1st house in instances like that. Okay, so a planet in exaltation is a similar thing. So if Saturn was in Aquarius instead of Capricorn, then that's in exaltation. Well, I won't give you a list of all of them, but anything in exaltation, that gives you +4 points. Then we start to get into that triplicities and the terms and the faces, which gives us that other chart which has so much stuff on it. Let's find it. This one here. And that is just when you really want to get down to the nitty gritty. And it's hard to read. what it is here's the signs, there's the ruling planets, there's the exalted planet with degree. So when we're talking in terms of terms and faces, we're actually looking at degrees as well. So when you want to get down to the nitty-gritty of it, you can go, okay, so-and-so is in its detriment, but also in term of the planet, it's in its detriment as well. So in its particular degree, it is especially bad, etc., etc. Okay, let's get back to this top one. Okay, so accidental dignities are... So we're always talking about the significators here. So if the significator of the house, of the question is Mars in this instance, and it is conjunct the ascendant or the midheaven, you get plus 5 points. If it's in the 7th house, the 4th house, or the 11th house, you get plus 4 points. So it's dependent on which planet is the one that you're looking at, but then you just go through each one and go, okay, is it in the 2nd or the 5th? Okay, plus 3 points, blah, 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 blah. Does it apply to the sun or the moon? Is it direct? Is it faster than average? You can find these things out too when you look into computer programs a little bit more. That can make it a little easier to see what's fast and what's slow. And then we have these real minor ones. And this is really when you're getting to the real nitty-gritty of it. Is the moon increasing in light? Is it combusting from the sun's rays? Which means, so if the moon was in combustion and the sun's rays, that means it would be very, very closely conjunct, less than 17 seconds away from the sun. Cazimi is 17 minutes away from the sun. So very close conjunction, but too close. In my eyes, especially in criminal astrology, if a planet is Cazimi the sun, or within 17 minutes or 17 seconds of another planet, it's so scorching that it either shines a light on that subject and shows us what's going on, or it doesn't really act very well. So I don't like using this point system for criminal astrology. I actually don't. I never have. But for horary, it's important to know. Now, a partile conjunction, partile means exact. Like I have a conjunction between a trine between my Sun and Neptune, and my Sun is at 6 degrees 56 minutes, and my Neptune is at 6 degrees 56 minutes. So I have a partile trine with my Sun and Neptune, and that's what that means when you come across the word partile. It has to be exact, no orb whatsoever. So this is quite explanatory. If it's conjunct any of those, you get those points. Okay, now on this side, if the significator of the chart, the person or the question, is in detriment, we're losing points. If it's in 4, we're losing points. Peregrine, losing points. And then the accidental debilities are, is it Mars that's ruling the question, the quesitor or the quesitor? Yes. Is it in the 12th house? Yes. Well, you'd have to take off 5 points. Is it in the 8th and 6th? 2 points, etc., etc. Retrograde, slower than average, under the sun's beams. Here we've got here, so it's basically just the opposite of here. Besieged, partile again, which is exact, and we have harsher planets now, Mars and Saturn. See here we have Jupiter and Venus and all these nice ones for the nice side, and over here we've got these horrible things. Within 5 degrees of Caput Agole is at 26 degrees Taurus, so I don't agree. I think it would have to be within 1 degree to make a difference. But there's the 26 Taurus. But that's just my opinion. So yeah, just quickly, that is a table for you guys to write down when you're looking at a horary chart. Look at each significator and give them a point system.